Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to inspire a world where food makes us better. Guys, by the way, if you hear any noise, there seems to be a lot of activity going on in my neighborhood at 7 a.m. in the morning today. For some reason, I'm an early person, I don't really care except for this podcast. But I imagine if people wake up at 8 or 9, I'm good luck with that. They were cutting grass and doing all kinds of stuff. Not sure why Thursday is such a busy day today. My name is Shurina. I'm a certified nutritionist, a health productivity coach. My main specialization is nutrition and food though, guys. I help people to use food in a simple way to feel better, to look better, to get better, to just be your most awesome self. And food can help you with all of that, guys, because we are built from the ground up from the foods that we put on our plate. Every cell is built of it. And how well they work together also depends on those foods, because food, guys, it's a bunch of chemicals put together in a very tasty package. And they work together, in this synergy. So if you take some supplement and think it the same as whole food, not freaking chance. We talked about that yesterday, right? About supplements, how in foods there are thousands of compounds and they work in a certain way. And when you take supplements, it's a completely different story. It's separated things that are not even really equal versions to what we can find in whole foods. But anyhow, guys, I help people to use foods as tools to improve certain function or certain feeling or performance or looks. Today we are talking about chickpeas and how I use chickpeas to have a really great night sleep. You go to bed at 9 p.m. That is when I go to bed usually. And you wake up exactly in 8 hours, having woken up 0 times, and I remember dreams about penguins and Antarctica, and there were a bunch of other things with my friends and some people I don't even know. I'm like, how did those people get into my head if I don't even know them? My brain just came up with that stuff. So a perfect night of sleep and a lot of dreams. It means there's gonna be a lot of new connections and creative ideas and insights, and my mental health also gonna just be, awesome. I couldn't find another word to describe mental health. And I'm laughing a lot today. Everything seems to be funny, and I have much better sense of humor. That's what great night of sleep does to me. And I start having those more and more consistently. So every day I'm like, oh, this is fun. Hard work, but it's also fun. The reason being, I finally figured out and put into practice what I learned from neuroscience and nutrition and sleep expert. I put it together in a package that works for me and works for many other people. Now, of course, we have our individual differences in the way our gut works or our brain work, and our metabolism works. But there are also a lot of similarities, so please try this, especially if you are on a low carb or keto diet. This might really transform the quality of your sleep. So instead of sleeping for, let's say, 6.5 hours and not having dreams, waking up several times a night, and then you feel it, it's not your best. You can function, and probably on 6.5 hours you function pretty well, but it's not your best. Things are not firing in your brain the way they fire when you have a rocking night of sleep. You might not even know what that sleep feels like the next morning if you never had it. So chickpeas. Why chickpeas work so well? Chickpeas are quite rich in tryptophan. That is an amino acid that we need to make serotonin. One of the things that we need to make serotonin. We also need B6 vitamin that is also present in quite good amount in chickpeas. So tryptophan, B6, we need to make serotonin. Serotonin is in charge, or it balances, it helps to regulate mood, appetite, and sleep. sleep-wake cycle. Serotonin is needed to make melatonin that regulates sleep-wake cycle, how fast we can fall asleep and how long, preferably till next morning, we can stay asleep, right? So we need tryptophan, we need B6 to make serotonin, and then to make melatonin, and then to have a great night's sleep. Serotonin is probably involved in many, well, not probably, but for sure, in many other reactions related to sleep, but then also it has to do with mood and appetite, so many things. So chickpeas, in just about 70 grams of chickpeas, that's what I usually get in 1/3 of a dried chickpeas, 1/3 of a cup of dried chickpeas. That's what I usually get. It's about 44% of our tryptophan, 17% of our B6, and then if you combine it with protein and also tryptophan and B6 rich foods like chicken or turkey, lean beef, lean pork, salmon, tofu also works. If you combine your chickpeas with these foods, you have a chance to really have an awesome night of sleep. And why chickpeas as your choice of carbohydrate? Because chickpeas, sweet potato, for example, has quite similar profile when it comes to tryptophan and B6. But what chickpeas have that a lot of other carbohydrate-rich foods don't have, chickpeas, per that serving, 70 grams, so 2.5 ounces, chickpeas have 15 grams of, not 15 grams of protein and 8 grams of fiber. And what that fiber does, it helps to release sugars that are in chickpeas, or more like they're starches, not really sugars, but carbohydrates. This fiber helps to release carbohydrate slowly. And the thing about serotonin, it seems that to absorb it and use it in our brain effectively, we need to maintain a certain level of glucose in our brain and in our blood. And so fiber in chickpeas helps to release, to maintain that blood glucose, brain glucose. It helps to maintain it at a balanced level. And so you have the level that is needed for the brain to stay asleep and do its work during the night, recovery, consolidation of memories and learnings. So that blood glucose, because of that fiber content, seems to be staying stable more often than not, and that helps you to stay asleep without waking up. Because one of the reasons why a lot of people wake up several times during the night is because there is a fluctuation in blood sugar that doesn't, and the brain, it always needs to maintain a certain amount of blood glucose, blood sugar to function properly. And so the brain is very dependent on blood glucose. And so when it fluctuates a lot for some reason, then sleep is going to be disrupted because, if you can't maintain certain blood sugar, there is a possibility you can get brain damage. And so for that not to happen, we need to maintain a certain blood glucose level. And for a lot of people, it seems that if you don't have those carbohydrates, lone carbohydrates available at your dinner, somewhere around like 3 hours before bed, it seems that your sleep cycle is going to be really disrupted. Maybe you're not able to absorb that serotonin. Again, maybe it also has to do with blood glucose and glucose levels in your brain. For whichever reason, adding slow carbohydrates to your dinner that hopefully also is rich in protein that is also needed for many processes sleep related. So it seems that it's needed for a lot of people like myself to fall asleep fast and stay asleep. And did I fall asleep fast? Yes, I did, guys. It took me literally, I don't even remember. I remember I listened to a meditation with Sam Harris Waking Up app. That's the one I'm using regularly. So I listened to the meditation and, I put the phone away. And I don't remember how I fell asleep. Like, I literally do not remember. The next morning, I woke up it was 5 a.m. and that was it. And then I just remember penguins. That I was doing a lot of crazy stuff in my dreams. So, let's get practical. Let's sum it up. With your dinner for better sleep, first of all, you want to have your dinner 3 hours before your bed. Hopefully, you also do a walk after your dinner to stabilize your blood sugar further and help with digestion and absorption, breaking down of nutrients. So dinner 3 hours before bed, then a walk. If you do exercise at night, do not do anything intense because that can disrupt your sleep cycles because of cortisol and other stress hormones. So dinner 3 hours before bed, and you have some lean chicken, turkey, beef, pork, or salmon, or plant-based people. You can have tofu, also rich in tryptophan, that is needed for our production of serotonin and melatonin. So eat that and add chickpeas. At the very least, add sweet potato. Although I find chickpeas, because of fiber content, there is more than in sweet potato. Sweet potato, I think it's like 4 grams. Compared again to chickpeas is about 8 grams. And plus additional tryptophan, B6 and protein. So add chickpeas, 2.5 ounces, 1/3 of a cup dried. That's what I use usually. And then, of course, add any vegetables, green and colorful. That's always should be in every one of your meals, a lot of color. But you want to focus on 2 things specifically. That lean protein that I just told you about, chicken, turkey, beef, pork, if you salmon also works if you plant-based eater, tofu, and then chickpeas. And if you've been waking up during the night for the past, several days, weeks, months, see how it works. Especially, again, if you are on a low-carb keto diet and you've been sleeping for 6 hours, it might not be enough, especially not for your REM sleep and your mental health and creativity. So try out this dinner. Even if you're on a low-carb or keto, it's not going to kill you. Like literally, unless you're diabetic and you have a very specific regimen when it comes to your carbohydrates, please do try it. Be open to things working better for you. Carbohydrates from whole foods, they're good for you. They're not bad in any way. Try it out. Let me know how you did. It really works, again, based in Neuroscience, in our biochemistry. So please try it. Let me know how you did, and then share it with other people. If someone is struggling with sleep and they can't really stay asleep and sleep too little, then you see them, they're kind of like cranky and stressed and all over the place with their emotions. Make them this dinner or share with them this podcast, even better, so they learn science, they understand how it works. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for working on yourself and spreading the health, good information, good nutrition around. Share this podcast. Also, guys, I'd like more people to know how to use food to make your life better, right? And so I need people like you to help me to spread this information, to share, to bring new listeners to the podcast. So all of us, we know better, and then we build better systems, better world that's going to help us to do better by default, so we don't have to struggle, we don't have to fight so much, right? So please do share. It's going to help us, all of us, a lot, and it's going to help me to help more people better. So I can't do it alone. I need you guys. And thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you for listening. Until next time, eat better daily and add some chickpeas to your dinner, please.